Hi, everyone. Hi, hi, hi. Have a seat. Welcome to, what do we call this? Creative Impact Artists in Action, otherwise known as our 2026 What Can We Do Community Share Out. And celebration. Thank you all for being here, and thank you all for your amazing projects. I'm Lisa Gold, I'm the Executive Director, and I'm joined by our Interim Programs Manager, Grace Blackmar, and you met Danny Wu when you checked in, and Sarah Zhu is in the back, and you met our intern Sydney Sue also. So everybody's here, takes a village. So again, thank you all for being here tonight. Grab a seat. So those of you, well, you should all be familiar with A4 now because you're mostly grantees, and if you're not, I will tell you that we are a 43-year-old service organization, 43, that works to ensure greater representation, equity, and opportunities for our API artists and arts organizations. And we do that through a lot of different types of programs, like creating platforms for artists, like the AMP, creating opportunities, listings, creating direct grants, like What Can We Do, as well as fellowships and just great community building events. So with all that and everything that we do, one of the things, we really do care about community, and just so I'm gonna remind everybody of our community safety statement, because we aim anyway to create environments in person and online that are welcoming, inclusive, and safe, both physically and emotionally, for the community. So if we observe actions or behaviors that can be interpreted as harmful or threatening, we retain the right to use our discretion and remove you. So for everyone's safety, be nice and just be kind. Let's see. So I'm going to share a couple of protocols before we officially start. We are recording this event, and we're going to post it on YouTube for later viewing if you want to, like I said, revisit the magic. And if you don't want to be on the video for any reason, just let us know. We can take care of that too. We just want to be respectful. There are all gender restrooms here. There's one on either side, on actually both sides of the filing cabinets, where there are an exit sign and over there. There's Wi-Fi information, I think on the wall there if you need it, but you're by the window, so we should be okay. So tonight, this is how it's gonna go. Everybody hopefully is gonna speak about their project. There are a few people who are sick or couldn't make it because they're out of town, various reasons. So either we will present a video or we will read a statement from them. But we really wanna hear from you. We wanna hear in your own voice, in your own words, the impact that this program had both on you and on the community that you engage. So we're really excited to hear that. Everybody's gonna have 5 minutes. Grace is gonna hold up her hand, or the 30-second warning when you speak. So we're just gonna try to move things along, and we'll take a break about halfway so everybody can get up and stretch your legs or pet my dog Maka if you would like. And then after everybody has presented, we'll take like a big group photo. And then please, mingle, make questions of each other, learn about each other's projects more, collaborate, whatever. That's why we're all here and in person. A couple things that I do want to talk about are our upcoming town hall and our A4 Arts Fund. So we are re-granting to small organizations and fiscally sponsored organizations, nonprofit and fiscally sponsored orgs. It's a nationwide grant-making program that will award $10,000 and $15,000 grants to API serving arts organizations with budgets under $500,000. So the deadline closes the 17th of July, I think. It's on our website, but anyway, it's a really great opportunity, and we currently have, we're currently serving organizations from Boston to Guam in all different disciplines, from comedy to theater to literature, all sorts of things. So it's really a great opportunity. So if you know or you're part of an organization, think about applying. And then next month we have our town hall, which is on film and media. It's going to be at ICP, the International Center for Photography, on the Lower East Side. It's a lot of fun. Everybody gets free admission. You get to see the galleries. So afford that. But also, it's a lot of fun. You know, if you haven't been to a town hall, you should. It's great networking. You learn about projects. You can share your own projects. You can network. You can ask for resources. You can share resources. You can just introduce yourself and make friends. We have a big potluck afterwards. So it's really, really a great networking opportunity. We've hooked up lots of collaborators over the years, and people have made friends. They've made like some collaborators. They've worked on projects together. It's a really great event to kind of get into a community. Let's see. Oh, that I was right. It was July 13th. Okay. So that is, like I said, what did I say that is? That's July 23rd. So sign up for that online. And if you have any questions about any of these things, you can ask me. You can ask Grace. You can go online. So that's that. I want to thank our funders who support this program, who make it possible, which is the New York City Department of Cultural Affairs, and specifically our council members, Christopher Marti in Chinatown, District 1, and Sandra Ung, which is District 20 in Queens, in Flushing, and the Ford Foundation for Social Justice, as well as like all of the great community organizations that many of you worked with. By the numbers, just some stats. So we had 177 applicants this year. We awarded 20 projects to all of you. We awarded $30,000 in grants, which resulted in supporting more than 27 artists, because some of you engaged collaborators in your project, and you touched over, I don't know what it is, like 500,000 New Yorkers or something. Because we've had, like, over the years, we've done this. So this is our 5th cohort of this, and this started during the pandemic and it started with $500. That's all we had to offer. So we've tripled that. So over time, it's just grown, and the number of partners and organizations that want to be part of this, from Queens Botanical Garden to Glow Cultural Center to, I don't even know, so many different organizations, Hamilton Madison House, and the ones that you all work with. We've touched so many NGOs, some social service organizations, businesses in Chinatown, all sorts of great organizations. So it's really incredible to see the impact that you have made on the city through these 5 cohorts. I'm really, really proud of this project, and I love this event because I get to hear all the amazing things that you've done. So, like I said, over the past 4 years, plus this one, we've seen over 110 projects come to life, and each project has been rooted in care and creativity and a deep commitment to the communities that you serve. It's just so touching, so moving to witness how your work has impacted both the artists and the communities that you work with. So, it's just a giant ripple effect of joy and positivity and caring and creativity that you've created across New York. And I'm really, really grateful to you for what you've done. And I'm sure all the people that you've touched are really grateful too. So thank you for that. Thank you for all of the work that you do and your energy and your creativity and your presence. So thank you all. Just a reminder that, your care in particular, it's not abstract, it's tangible. Your work is powerful, it's meaningful. And I hope you all really feel that. So with that, we're gonna start. This is the order, and I believe that the first presenter, Hala, is not present. So do we have a video, or are you gonna read?
I will be presenting.
Okay, so we're gonna ask all the presenters to stand here so that we can get you on video, of course, with a little branding behind you, but if you can all come over here to speak, that would be great. And also so you don't block the screen for other people. So do you wanna read? Do you need me to push?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Okay. Hala hosted a free community reading and open mic at Blinky's Bar in Williamsburg, featuring Kyle Anyway, Aspen DeGroot, Sarah Katami, and Dia Abbas. The event was originally scheduled to include Hanif Abdurraqib, who was unable to attend due to last-minute travel complications. The evening brought together emerging and established writers alongside community members sharing work during the open mic. More than 100 tickets were reserved, with over 60 people attending. Through the raffle, mutual aid efforts, and community donations, they raised $915 for the Iran Red Crescent Society, while creating an accessible space for poetry, conversation, and collective gathering. Are there more slides?
No, okay, just do. All right, great. All right, sounds good. Imagine here.
Yeah. Yeah, hello buddy. Hello everyone, I'm Wen Chen and happy to be here to share my project under the grant. And so actually I executed at two organizations. One is at settlement, a university settlement, and another is at Hamilton Medicine House. And at like university settlement, I joined a computer class, and the goal of the class is to use like computer programs for the students with disabilities, for them to make presentation and practice the oral expression. So I just use my projects. My project is about like utilize like real-time AI generation for visuals for their presentation. So it is like adding more visual details for their presentation, and also I see the project also like a catalyst for them to like say more with more details, and also try to build communication with other students, their classmates. And at Hamilton Medicine House, it's a little bit different. I work with elderly communities, so I also use my project for them, for story sharing, for storytelling about hometown, about like immigrant stories, experiences, like stories about when they came to the United States or New York, something like that. But at Hamilton Medicine House, it would be a little bit challenging for me, because it is I make a new project there. Then actually it took a lot of time for me to get to know each other, to let people know me, know my projects, and so I see it is still in a progress, yeah, at that organization. So, and yeah, that's what I did for the project. And about the impact, I think like first of all, I can feel the students are happy with like get in touch with new technologies like AI, and they're happy to use that technology to make presentation, to make visuals for their oral expression practices. And actually the mentor of the computer class, she was also happy because her students were happy. And yeah, so but at the Hamilton Medicine House, and I got reminders of like privacy protection, because I'm working with AI. So people there would be a little bit concerned about like okay, I'm working with AI, but I'm not like stealing your information for something like that. So yeah, it took a longer time for me to build trust with each other at the organization. And I think at last for me, that the impact on me would be like usually I'm an artist, like working in studio, like for my personal project, personal work. Then with this grant and opportunity, I can just get out of that context, like studio, gallery, museum, that context, and to a real life, and working with like community members. And it's also I think it also gave me a new perspective, like arts can be open to real life, and not only okay, I just show the art in the gallery or in the museum, something like that. Yeah, it can be open to real life, and it can be kind of useful. And yeah, that's all. Yeah, and thank you very much for the grant and for opportunity. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Cecilia? Yeah.
Hi everyone, I'm Cecile Chung. I'm part of Broken China with Tao Li Goff. We're a duo. Unfortunately, Tao couldn't be here today. So our event happened pretty early on. It was on Thursday, February 26th. And actually Justine was also able to show up and support us way before we knew that she was going to leave A4. So it was great having her there. Our project was to to have a workshop with Afro-Asian Latina masculinity workshop celebrating Lunar New Year at the Boys Club of New York at the Abbey Clubhouse in Flushing. Do you guys know about the Boys Club of New York? So they have a few sites. Oh, you do?
Oh, well, I know that Yuri Kochiyama, like, was interested in working with the boys club, like the Boys and Girls Club, and she talked about a little bit in her memoirs or like just in interviews how like that was important to like get a start in your community and connect and like do different things, and she did that throughout her life.
Oh, awesome. That's great. Thanks for sharing. So we ran in the New Year of the Fire Horse with programming that included the film screening, a calligraphy workshop, a group discussion about masculinity, and we share Afro-Asian food and music. Our guests included comedian and actor Hassan Minaj. He did not get a artist stipend, but anyway, we also had writer and director and actor Carmen Labu, and also art historian and curator from Peru, Horacio Ramos Serna. We collaborated with the Boys Club of New York in Flushing to create programming that will be fun for tweens and teens, but also that allowed us to have important discussions about the pressure and expectations surrounding modern day manhood. Studies show that almost 70% of boys aged 11 to 14 have been exposed to misogynistic content online, and many stumble upon it while researching for something more mundane. And both the Boys Club of New York and Broken China wanted to counter these influences with an open discussion that would raise the boys' awareness of online influences and manipulation. We thought about having 30 participants, but we had like 70.
Wow.
The boys just did not stop coming in. So the Boys Club, we didn't advertise it because it was kind of like a closed thing to work with the members. We posted it on their Instagram, which has around 3,500 followers. And Broken China, we didn't post it in the social media, as I mentioned. We went to Materials for the Arts. We also got feedback one-on-one from A4, so it was also very useful. We also wanted to build a PI cross-cultural solidarity, and the grant allowed us to have a sense of agency, a sense of belonging, to build a PI engagement, and also build on that public programming that is very important to both Tao and my practice as artists. That also to carry out a project that it would not have happened otherwise. Really, it was really, it's like we are Broken China. Together we want to break Orientalist stereotypes. So hence we break blue and white porcelain, all under a feminist lens. So working with the Boys Club of New York was really perfect. So the highlight for the participants was Hassan Minaj. We also had a lively discussion about masculinity, and it was wonderful to hear the boys sharing about their role models, and also the ones that didn't have a male role model. That was also super important to hear that. So we felt very supported by FA4, and we would also love to partner with other youth organizations in the future, perhaps in Chinatown, or expand this work with the Boys Club of New York in other locations. We know that they have a Harlem location, also in the Bronx, and they also have a summer camp in Hudson Valley. Oh, okay. Yeah, so I think that's it. Thank you.
Hello guys. My name is Yejia. Unfortunately, Sion is not here today, but this project is like co-founded by both of us, and we're working on this project called TND Universal Market, which is a project and a series of workshops that exploring the deaf culture from Asian communities and Asian American communities, and it actually started with our shared experiences of experiencing the mourning and grieving of family members from far away. And we started to realize, oh my God, Americans don't know how to talk about grieving and mourning. So, and also how this connected us with our ancestry with the communities. So we started as a series of workshop, so here is a photo of our program in Think Chinatown, where we hosted like a group ceremony of collective care, specifically during Qingming Festival, which is like a Chinese festival for mourning your dead family members. And during the workshop, we teach people how to make paper offerings on ourselves, because like during this workshop, we also we teach people, but actually we learn a lot from our community members. For example, there are some community members who taught us several ways of folding a gold ingot, which is something that when you burn it, it's transcended to this afterlife world, that you are sending some money to your family members. Like that's really important, right? So this group ceremonies that we hold in both in Chinatown and Glow Cultural Center, which I know Miss Ming is coming today, and who are our wonderful host. Maybe next slide. Who are our wonderful hosts, and this is one of our sessions during Glow Cultural Center where we teach. Like for example, this is a really small kid, and we're teaching them how to fold this gold ingot, and we're also make some creative ways to mourn the dead. So I think for this way is really we're trying to form a space of collective care and learning about the mourning rituals together in a way that honor our ancestry and our upbringings. And at the same time, because this is a project that we started this year, but actually we want to keep on going because I think this is a very important topic for everyone. And when we are introducing this topic to some people who are not familiar with this kind of like Asian American rituals, they were also finding this way of mourning like a really creative way for them to talk about death, and it's a way for death education and for ways to care for each other. So our next step is probably to first build a collection of paper offerings from China and New York and across the US. We actually find out that there are so many paper offerings flushing in Chinatown if you want to try to look for it. And on the other hand, we also want to create maybe a exhibition or like a publication in the future. That's our long-term goal and wishes. And while at the same time, we want to continue to work on this kind of community workshops, because I think Glow Cultural Center and Think Chinatown, that we build this connection with A4 has been super helpful for us, because this is exactly the communities that we want to reach. And we want to continue to bring this to different spaces like community centers, senior centers, hospice care, or even schools, to think about the way for us to be both cultural and creative and also care for each other. So, and if anyone has any suggestions or any collaborations, feel free to reach out to us. And yeah, thank you so much. And thank you, A4.
Oh my god. Hi, I'm Zoe, she, her. I'm working with G Rebels, which stands for Goodreads. We are based in Brooklyn, and we do mutual aid at the Brooklyn Public Library every other week, where we give out food, masks, COVID tests, health supplies, a bunch of things, just for folks who need it. This project came about sort of around the time that food stamps were really in jeopardy in New York, when we were trying to get more food out to our communities. And one of the most obvious needs for us was getting food to people who couldn't come down to food distros. So that was the elderly, a lot of our disabled peers and kin, and we're trying to think about ways to sort of bring things directly to them. So we launched a peer-to-peer mutual aid program with the support and help of A4. I think that might be the next photo. Just to have people giving, we paired up providers and receivers to send funds and food across different boroughs to each other. Simultaneously, we're trying to think about what it really means to do mutual aid outside of the volunteerism or a charity framework. So again, using A4's funds, I started making presents and books and gifts for the providers, which you can kind of see on the screen here. It ties in really well with G-Rebel's overall mission, providing political education. These were booklets and zines, for instance, based on the Black Panther Party's principles of unity, the Zapatistas, just sort of different things every month, so we could really foster community with folks who could not always be in person together. Moving forward, we are trying to host events so that we can start seeing that impact in real time, but this already kind of started hitting around 40 providers and recipients. Simultaneously, as these things are kind of want to grow with any sort of organizing, we became sort of increasingly aware of the sort of lateral ableist sentiment within a lot of our spaces, and a lot of the sort of I don't know, just a lot of the kind of tension and interpersonal fighting that was kind of getting in the way of our organizing efforts. So kind of branching off this work, I started this weird little side project and foray into bookbinding, which has been really lovely. I brought it because I'm a narcissist. These were Coptic stitch binded. They're pretty rough because I don't have an X-Acto knife, but this one, for instance, is about the spectacle of disability, which I am kind of proud of, and I'm still really developing and growing this as a medium, which is something I never would have done without A4. I don't think I've ever considered myself an artist or a creator outside of Canva. So it was really cool to get to go to Materials for the Arts and get lots of cool things and just start really creating works and books that shared what we are learning as we go about this process. I took the name Issa V here, which you can see on my socials as well, just because I'm thinking about OPSEC. I realized doing this on YouTube is bad OPSEC, but it's okay. And then finally, as this evolved and we kind of began working with more campaigns and coalitions, I used those tools as well to start benefiting the campaigns and political projects we were a part of. So every other Gen Z Asian, I started learning risograph. These are flyers I made for our latest campaign, for the AIW campaign, which I'm just gonna pass around. If y'all could take one each, I am proud of it. But it's about disability care work and the way that disability justice really intersects with the need to be paying immigrant care workers more. And that's sort of one of the many things that we've sort of taken on in this last couple of months. So I realized that was a long, sporadic scrawl, but I'm just sort of really, really grateful to A4 for helping me sort of develop this very emergent process and this project, which is still very much ongoing. We are at the library every other week if folks ever want to come out and say hi. And we will be continuing to build our mutual aid program. It's grown a lot thanks to A4, continuing to give out prop and educational materials, and hosting in-person and online workshops for our community members. So thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Maya Han, and I am a Korean-American, Brooklyn-based artist and filmmaker. One of the current focuses of my work is uplifting hidden BIPOC histories, particularly in the natural sciences. As an artist interested in mycology, the study of fungi, I was keen to raise awareness on the under-recognized role of fungi in Asian American culture, as well as raise awareness about New York City's green spaces and local ecology. Thanks to the Asian American Arts Alliance What Can We Do grant, I was able to produce Mycelial May, a free 2-hour in-person workshop with the goals of celebrating the collaboration between art and science, tapping into the health benefits of both drawing and walking in nature, and cultivating community building, cultural pride, and a restorative sense of wonder and delight. Mycelial May, while targeting Queens-based AAPI communities, was beginner-friendly, inclusive, and accessible to all. The attendees were predominantly Asian American identified, and they hailed from 3 out of 5 boroughs: Queens, Brooklyn, and Manhattan. They were also a diversity of ages, from 7 to 75. So at 12 p.m. we had a good turnout, and by 12:15 we had to bring out extra tables and chairs because so many attendees were showing up. So the event kicked off at 12 p.m. with a brief introduction to fungi's essential role and benefits to the ecosystem, and the culinary, medicinal, and shamanic importance of mushrooms to Asian cultures. At the drawing table, I guided the participants through an introduction of nature and mycological drawing from live specimens, which here featured fresh cultivated mushrooms commonly found in and important to Asian cultures. The last hour of the event featured a mycoforay, or a mushroom walk, co-led by me and the Queens-based mycologist Wilton Rao on the grounds of the Queens Botanical Garden. Participants were instructed in the basics of how to use magnifying hand lenses and how to look for and identify mushrooms in everyday urban green spaces. Though the event ended at 2 p.m., after the walk, all of the participants lingered to further explore and learn at the discovery table, our display of locally foraged wild mushrooms. The engagement and reception of this event was overwhelmingly positive, and I was deeply moved by the joy and devotion to the drawing, the curiosity and excitement over mushrooms, the space created for discovery and sharing of stories by both Asian American and non-Asian American attendees about their experiences with the natural world and foraging, all of which led to other wonderful conversation about art, science, and nature. Despite being a rolling, no-commitment time frame, almost all of the attendees stayed for the entire 2-hour event. This experience only underscored for me the need to continue to outreach to the AAPI communities and offer them new and inventive programming that feels inclusive, culturally sensitive, with opportunities to learn and engage with their local spaces.
Kitty, yeah, Kitty is also not here, so I will be Kitty. Across 3 sessions, the Always Chinatown team led a small cohort of high school and college students through an immersive, hands-on documentary filmmaking program in partnership with Welcome to Chinatown. This series guided participants from the foundations of storytelling through filming and editing their own short documentaries about small local businesses. This is a work-in-progress video from one of their high school students about the current owner of Go Believe Bakery in Chinatown. It's the student's first time working with a camera and in Premiere for the edit.
Sarah, next one. Return.
No, you can just go forward.
My dad didn't have a piece of this bakery, then it would never occur to me to be like, oh, I want to own a tea bakery one day. My name's Connie. I am considered to say potentially the successor of the bakery. We, as a family, didn't have like a lot. You know, you don't need a lot to enjoy and have good food. That's sort of built into what we offer and built into how we price things. Being able to maintain these low prices for such a long time and like have minimal sort of increases in prices all throughout these years have been a wow factor for me. Margins are super thin, very thin. Cost of living in New York is not low at any point. It has only gone up, and we try not to pass that down to our customers. That's been something that my dad and his partners have truly believed in. As I was growing up, I didn't really understand or partake in the bakery. My current years, I've begun to understand a little more what entrepreneurship is, what it takes, and how difficult it is to run a business. It really didn't come into play until probably around the pandemic time, where you saw across the whole world businesses really struggled and some closed. And seeing my dad age over the years, this felt like something that the community really found valuable to them, because I saw that some of his customers, longtime customers, were calling him, asking him, when is the bakery going to reopen, etc. So just seeing that really wanted me, from my perspective, to continue this and continue the legacy and serve the community. To me, community is like super important. It is like your support system throughout anything that happens. Just knowing that the community recognizes us as a staple in in this community in itself is like an award that we're really proud of. Even though it's not a commercial song or anything like that, I think that's way more meaningful to us, knowing that they enjoy our bakery.
Yes, that's it.
Hi folks, I'm Zoe Rabinowitz. I'm not Summer Head King, but I work with her closely. She couldn't be here tonight. Together we run Summer Dance Theater, which is a contemporary dance theater company based between New York and Palestine. We tell narrative dance theater works that uplift stories from the Arab world, but also immigrants and refugees and other historically underrepresented populations. We also do engagement programming, and with this grant we offer DEBCA workshops at the Arab American Family Support Center in Queens and Brooklyn. DEBCA is the traditional folkloric dance of the Levant, found in Palestine, Jordan, Lebanon, and Syria. We partnered with Arab American Family Support Center actually for several years. This was our 4th year, but this grant allowed us to expand programs. They have locations in Brooklyn and Queens. We got to do workshops in both places. And you can go to a picture. They're very exciting. I didn't want to show anyone's faces, but in some locations they also preferred female-only instructors, and this allowed us to train and bring in some new instructors, which aren't pictured here, for the more socially conservative folks, and that was really great. They are newly arrived immigrants, a lot of them, majority from the Arab world, but also from other areas, a lot of Muslim folks from East Asia as well, Southeast Asia. And, oh no, our photo op. So we got great feedback. I was gonna read a quote, that's why I brought my phone up here, just from the staff. They said, "Your energy was electric, the girls had a great time, we were so excited to have you again next month. We're grateful for this partnership and the cultural enrichment it brings to our youth." I got to go and watch one of the classes with our teaching artists, and it was really cool to see folks from like Sudan and Algeria be like, "Oh, this is different from our dance, but we have something like this," and kind of then start to have that exchange and dialogue and build community, and then practice the dances outside of class and bring them back in together and sort of feel that sense of like pride and connection that we think is what dance and performing arts and culture is all about. So Thank you so much. Yeah. Our teaching artists was Sim Alzier and Mohammed Smathny, pictured here. Yeah. Thank you.
Hi guys, I'm Gigi. I'm a youth leader at CAV Chinatown Attendance Union, and for our printmaking workshop, Threads of Resilience, we held it in the new space in Sunset Park since a lot of because of gentrification and displacement, a lot of API immigrants, they're moving to Flushing and Sunset Park. So we were kind of this workshop was very pertinent in seeing how Sunset Park youth from ages 14 to 21 were engaging with their community and the ways that they're engaging with the fast-paced nature of politics in their neighborhood. So yeah, the table's really chaotic after we took the picture, but yeah, I promise it wasn't that overstimulating for everyone. But yeah, we started off with first I wanted to point out that originally the intended audience for the workshop was CAV youth, and I feel there's a little bit of I feel that distinction was something that I didn't realize would make such a difference, because a lot of the youth that we ended up participating were part of the Parent-Child Relation Association, the students that were already doing mutual aid in their neighborhood, and maybe they didn't realize their connection to Chinatown, and especially when we're talking about the issue of affordability in New York right now, what does that mean for young people? So the workshop, kind of the flow of it. Sorry if I'm talking too fast. But yeah, I started off with an icebreaker and for youth to think about a mental object of it can't to kind of demystify art in itself, and also when we think about cultural objects or things that we feel connected in our homes, because I feel a lot of times especially through door knocking and outreach in Sunset Park, a lot of youth also would feel disconnected from whether they're from apolitical families, or they would feel they're unable to relate to their physical home or environment. And I feel that was such a recurring theme for a lot of API youth. So I thought a lot about that prompt, because I myself struggled a lot also with how do I relate to my own culture and also heritage, and I feel that's a recurring theme of dissonance that runs through a lot about how I think about the tool of graphic arts and the implications of we talked about a lot of how the Chicano graphic arts movement in the 70s and 80s influenced Asian American movement, and also most of it was also to give the students a space to think about symbol, because I think that symbol is such a visible and graphic way of bringing something into attention immediacy, but at the same time it can be so hard to bring something to how to visualize something. So a lot of it was we utilize a CAV's digital archive, and this year we're celebrating our 40 years of housing justice, and thinking about how CAV started out as a movement, again talking about Afro-Asian solidarity and how impactful that was when we're thinking about the same systemic issues that impact us, from police brutality and the murder of Vincent Chin to how that transitioned to why we need a place to stay. And I feel all of our issues today kind of have that same through line. So yeah, a lot of the majority of the workshop was segmented into how do we engage with digital archive, especially because there's more than 1,000 different items, from photographs to video and protest signs. That's just like a few of those categories, and then like how do we relate that back to like physical imagery? And I feel like a lot of Gen Z be desensitized to a lot of like what's going on. Like the algorithm is so sensitive. So yeah, I was just thinking a lot about Gen Alpha and Gen Z's when thinking about this. And then so yeah, this workshop is in a series of like three events, and we just got to like the part of carving, and not gonna lie, a lot of folks were like, yeah, like carving ain't it, like I don't want to continue this anymore. So I was like, okay, that's okay, we're gonna redirect it towards like something more maybe have like pre-made stencils or poster making. I feel like gauging people's interest from the youth summit, I think that would be the direction to go, but to be continued. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Qixing and I'm a textile artist. So today I'm going to introduce you to the community project called Hands at Work. And it's an exhibition that has 12 participating artists from a senior center. It's called the CPC, Chinese American Planning Council in Sunset Park. And then many of the participating artists, they used to be workers working in garment factories when they first moved from China to the United States. So it's a really meaningful craft for them. So I started to teach at the Senior Center since last year through Brooklyn Arts Council's Sukasa program. And when I was like talking to the seniors, I realized like so many of them share the same background when they moved from China, from Hong Kong and Guangdong province, like in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Like many of them have worked in the garment industry. And so, for example, I'm going to share like a few stories from the participants. Her name is Mei Jinzhi. She worked for more than like 30 years in 3 different like children's garment factories. And then the buttons that she collected was from one of the companies that she worked at. So it's like a really like cute buttons, you know, with animals, very colorful. And then she made the shape of her hands with embroidery and patchwork, embroidery and mixed media. And then the next one is Zhao Yuechang. She's from Guangdong province as well. And then she's one of the most active participants in the group that she likes to do embroidery. And then this one of her piece that she made is like a sunflower all by like hand weaving. And then the next one is from He Meiyu. She's originally from Guangzhou in Guangdong province. And then she made a lot of like weavings and patchwork with the rabbit pattern. And she told me it's because when she was in her 20s that she worked at Canton Fair. It's a trade show in China, and then she saw like a really elaborate rug with a rabbit pattern. So that still, you know, she remembers that, and while she's making textile art herself, like she like, keeps like coming back to this animal. And then here's Qiu Huicheng. She's originally from Hong Kong, and then she's really into patchwork. For example, the left one that she made is a combination of patchwork and crochet. And then she told me that while she worked like again for like 30 years in a garment factory, and then later she worked as a caretaker. So during that job, she learned how to crochet from American Lady. So she combined like these two things that she like learned. It's like representing of the different chapters of her life. Yeah, here are some more embroidery projects. So I did like at the senior center, I usually have 1 day a week. Like the project was around like 2 months. So in the morning we do weaving, and in the afternoon we do some embroidery. So this is one of the projects that I started with them. It's called like Stitch Your Name. It's like in the center we have your name, and then we're adding some elements to decorate it. And I feel like at the beginning it's always a little bit hard to like push the aunties that, oh yeah, your name is important, let's like do something. And some of them they'll be like, oh no, it's okay. So in the center, for example, they would say happy life, you know, like oh, everything's nice, and then they add their name, like small ones at the bottom. There's some more work, the patchwork. And yeah, so here's like I did an exhibition at the senior center. They gave us like really like nice wall space at the center, and then the exhibition is still on view. I will share a poster at the end. So we have 12 different participants' work, including weavings, embroidery, and patchwork. And then, so we have the opening on May 26th. Many of the artists like talk about their work, even though like many of them are a little bit shy, so we have to like encourage them, like it's okay, you know, like they can speak in Chinese and Cantonese, and I can like translate it for them. So here's like the group photo of many of the artists and also staff from the senior center. For the event, I did a 1 hour free embroidery workshop. So there are also like some people outside the community who like came to learn the story and then like learn how to embroider. Here's the poster. It's still on view. If you're in Sunset Park, you can like go check out the show at the CPC Senior Center. And I feel like this project has been really meaningful for the seniors and then for the community. Also like for me, myself, I feel like I used to be a journalist in China, so I feel like I kind of use my skills to interview them, like get some questions and take good photos of them. And thanks to the support of A4 this year, we not only have the exhibition, but we also have produced a catalog of everybody's like personal statements and their photos. We did the workshop, so it's been like, really nice project. Thank you so much for the support.
Okay, we're gonna take a 5-minute break, so you can do a quick fire break. But we're only running 3 minutes behind. So quick break, and there's y'all that come back. And there's one seat up front. There's an extra seat up front that nobody wants. I'm good. Nice to meet you. Thanks so much. That was really great. Okay.
I ended up with 6 rows of these. I was at Northwest. I taught at Northwestern. Are you out there sometimes? Yeah. Thank you. Very cool. I'm good. I'm Jamie. Yeah, we all did that because we shop and like love the performance studies. Oh, it's like just along with and I think for me, like what I learned about is like, just the expansiveness of the people that are involved in support. I love that idea. I mean, I think it says a lot that there's an institution supporting us that is, kind of like incubating us. Just coming from Texas, it's like, so it's like,
I just put in like
what should I do? What should I follow?
And it's really nice, and I love like there are people that want to give you my personal love here.
I do my own work as well, and then also.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm gonna go peruse this next. Thank you.
And then this is me, and then that way. Great, because I'm sort of a part-time caretaker for an elder parent, and it's just coming up a lot in my work also, like choreography, and I was just thinking about do more work with centers and things like that. So. Okay, got you. Asia is missing. Nice. Nice to meet you. Thanks for saying hi. What a small world. Oh my god.
I took some photos. Some people are not really seeing. So you go.
No, that's smart. Do you do this after every event or like weekly? Okay. I will probably see this.
Actually, I can sit back. You sit here and I'll sit in the very front. Yeah. I'll sit where the last seat is. Okay. Right here? I think so. Or did I just take some? Am I sit down? Okay. Someone can. Oh, you have no video. Oh, yes.
That was the next day.
Oh, yeah. And then you want it with your phone? No, I need it for the presentation. Oh, you can use my phone. You can use my phone. No, you don't need it? It's crazy. I just want to make sure we're on track. Yeah. But yeah, you don't have to take a picture. Just take a photo like horizontal. Okay. And I'm gonna like send it to my mom.
Oh, too late.
I know. Right. If I this out, I feel like such a mess here.
That's so cool. I probably want to like help out with your mutual aid when I have time. I probably would have more time during like July because I'm moving to in August. My phone, I blocked it off my phone. Do you think I can like? Yeah, that's fine.
Did you take a red eye? Overnight. Yeah. Did you see that? Yeah, but it was only like 3 hours.
Okay, we're gonna get started. Go for it whenever you're ready.
Okay.
Get ready.
So ready.
Okay.
Hi everyone, my name is Camille Leung. I'm a Vietnamese American living in Queens, and I graduated from Stanford with a bachelor's degree in urban studies. I spent a lot of time in Taiwan doing urban historical research and also studying Chinese. And when I think about Queens and my relationship to like Asian communities in Queens, I was very drawn to the different Chinese enclaves that exist in the borough.
Cool. I'm Peppy. I'm Singaporean, Chinese, and I'm also based in Queens. Growing up, if you know Singapore and Southeast Asia, obviously there are many hawker centers where many family-run businesses sell really affordable and cheap and yummy and delicious food to people of all walks of life. And when I moved to Queens, I saw that there were many similarities between the Chinese street food vendors in my neighborhood as well as to the hawker center workers in Singapore. So as people of the Asian diaspora who are interested in urban history and food culture, we decided to highlight the stories of Chinese immigrant street vendors in Queens and how they remember China and how they nourish their own community in the most diverse borough in New York City.
Yeah, so our zine project is called Hot and Noisy, which is our English translation of the Chinese phrase 热闹. Also, the subtitle is Mapping Chinese Street Vending in Queens. So like Peppy was talking about, this is a comprehensive zine on Flushing, Elmhurst, and Long Island City, which we identified as the 3 major Chinese enclaves in the borough. Peppy and I interviewed 5 different street vendors with the help of Mavis, who is our interpreter because our Chinese is just okay. But we got to talk about a lot of different things with the street vendors and also independently do a lot of historical urban research on these 3 neighborhoods and how they developed differently, the kinds of Chinese immigrants that are present in the different neighborhoods, and the ways that luxury development and police presence kind of engage with and interact with sort of bottom-up urban culture like street vending.
In order to highlight the stories of Chinese immigrant street vendors, we first canvassed the 3 neighborhoods that Camille listed to get to know the street vendors. Then with the help of Mavis, we conducted 1-hour-long interviews with 5 street vendors across these 3 boroughs. And expanding a little bit on what Camille was saying, the street vendors shared a lot about the similarities and differences between vending in their home provinces in China and here, why they decided to sell certain types of food. For instance, some street vendors decided to sell items that were completely unfamiliar to them before coming to the US, just so that they can cater to more Western tastes and palates, whereas other street vendors decided to sell really specific things to their culture and their cuisine so that they can have also a competitive advantage because they were selling things that no other street vendors were selling. They were also talking about how difficult it is to get a permit. They also talked about how they have cultivated a community in the space, whether in Long Island City, Flushing, or Elmhurst, as well as their relationship to the neighborhood and New York City at large.
So the zine was like, we're still working on finishing it up. But it was very important for us to like be able, as Queens residents and also members of the Asian diaspora, to engage with these vendors who we walk past every day and build relationships with them, and also like understand like why they do what they do, why they feel like vending is important to them, and how it changes their relationship to the local community. It also allowed us to like gain a deeper understanding of the history of Queens. I think we both had a lot of fun thinking about the 7 line and how it like cuts through northern Queens, and how maybe like Asian American tech workers who live in Long Island City still hop on the 7 to go get groceries in Elmhurst or visit their grandparents in Flushing. There's sort of like this very particular Chinese social landscape that exists in Queens, and through a lot of our research and having these conversations with these vendors, we were able to see how everyday people engage with each other on the streets through food and community.
Yeah, cool. Through this project, we hope to encourage everyone to learn more about Queens and Chinese Queens, and also engage with their local street vendors, and also, if you have capacity, get involved with organizations like the Street Vendor Project, who aim to empower street vendors. Thank you.
Angelique and Kathleen held a community care and craft event at Creative NYC. The event entailed painting and chatting about New York City, its pressing social issues, way for community engagement, and connecting with folks. Through crafting at a communal table, they were able to facilitate a shared activity that allowed the participants to de-stress, pause, and share their thoughts in an encouraging, inclusive environment. They plan to continue organizing monthly book clubs that promote upcoming BIPOC, LGBTQ+ authors, community craft and care, where they host events in immigrant communities beyond Manhattan, and partnering with civic social organizations to share more resources and advocacy for social issues in NYC, the Philippines, and beyond.
Canadian isn't with us either, so we're gonna play a video.
This market has a lot of different types of food, and why do you want to talk about like why do you have all these different types of food? Obviously, the majority of the food is from West Africa, but do you want to talk about that?
I mean, everybody know that New York is like a melting pot. You have a lot of culture, a lot of people. So our main stuff come from Africa, of course, but we have from Jamaica, we have from India, we have from Mexico, because we have some Spanish here, so too. So it's like a mixing bowl, and everybody knows New York is a mixing bowl.
Talk about Teranga and the whole notion of like Senegalese food and Senegalese culture.
Yes, because Senegal is a little country, but everybody knows Senegal because of our teranga. Teranga means like we welcome everybody. When you come to Dakar or in another region of Senegal, you feel like you are home. So based on that, we call Senegal Pays of Teranga, like country of Teranga. You are always welcome. Our food, like the jollof rice, is like number one. So everybody knows. Even other countries, try to do it, but us, it's like jollof rice is for Senegal. Everybody knows that. And since like United Nations, name it, how we call it, patrimoine mondial, like Gore Island. So we have a lot of things people would love to discover from Senegal. Senegal food is like flavor. We mix our own stuff to make our food special. That's why our jollof rice is different than others because we have our own ingredients. Like the snail, we call it the yet, and the gate like the fish. All those flavors mixed together. It's especially from Senegal.
And you can get everything.
And you can get everything from Ajahaï for distributor. 251 West 16.
Hi. Hi everyone. Thank you for having me here. Lisa, Grace, and Justin, who's your spirit. I'm Nikita. My project and practice is called Fursat, which means leisure or rest. Uh, and it mostly is around women and the women that I've grown up around. I learned embroidery from my grandmother, who was a widow, and how embroidery helped her with her grief. They didn't have therapy back then. You know, a lot of women still don't have access to therapy back in South Asia, other parts of Asia. Um, and another textile called kalamkari, which is from the southern part of India and is centered around storytelling. So I bring both of these kind of ideologies together in my practice, thinking about storytelling, which again, a lot of it historically has been for consumption of patronage, but what does it look like when people take that medium for their own self-expression and as a way of process over product? I think as a lot of Asians and South Asians, we've been taught to be perfect, we've been taught to achieve, to overachieve. So these workshops, these were a set of 2 workshops, but the same set of people came back for both the sessions. And there is a long form of like community building when the same group of people come together around the same space over and over again. The first session was kalamkari. You see everyone's kind of like painting with the bamboo pen and kalam. Through the grant, I was able to do something that I haven't in the past, was to work with someone who studies story circles and is an expert in story circles, to create some prompts and to create some kind of guided questions for people to actually think about rest. Most of the people who came to the workshops were women and queer folks. So what does rest look like for a group of women, a group of queer people of color folks in New York City, where we've been taught to be perfect all the time? We've heard that either as first generation immigrants or as second or third generation diasporas, right? The second session over here you see was mirror embroidery, which is something I learned from my grandmother. I had a very estranged relationship with her all my life, to say the least. But while learning these embroideries is when we were just makers, and you know, a lot of the estrangement and anger kind of dissolved with the threads while making, and that's something that kind of like power that textiles carry, the memory that it carries, the kind of resolvement and unresolvement that it carries is something that I like to carry in my practice. And again, you see that, you know, it's not necessarily a very quote unquote pretty piece of artwork, but again, it kind of allows one to kind of express, allows one to actually be imperfect and find beauties within it. So those are some things that I think about, and I encourage people to think about. Through my workshops, I think I get equal validation and equal, I feel as seen as other people. So it's both ways, it's communal. I'm just a medium, this is just a medium. So yeah, thank you.
I'm coming back. Yeah, I'm ready.
Hi everybody, my name is Nadia Tahoun. I am an artist, and I'm also currently getting my MSW from Hunter College. I have one more year left. Yeah, go Kitty. I work very much in the intersection of art and mental health care. I've been doing that for years. I'm also the founder and director of Flower Shop Collective, which is a strategy studio and fabrication studio that works with immigrant artists and artists of color. we have an exhibition at the Bedford Library, the Brooklyn Public Library's Bedford branch with Miriam Kaba and Vic Liu, closing on the 27th, so please go check it out. It's like the last week or so. Shared Language is a project I've been doing this is I think the 4th time I've done it, but it is essentially a poetry workshop that talks about horizontal care. And I've done it with a few different communities, and this grant allowed me to work with University Settlement with their wellness program, which is low-income community members over the age of 60, and that was on Zoom. And then I also worked with the World's Borough Bookshop, which is an amazing bookstore in Jackson Heights. If you haven't gone, please go. And there I worked with mothers, pregnant people, caregivers, and I brought doulas on site, which this grant allowed me to do. I'm very into maternal mental health. And yeah, it was really amazing to work with the doulas. The doulas were from The Birthing Place, which is based in the Bronx. That's Mila, the founder. These are some of the women that were getting free maternal and mental health resources, but also bags of all sorts of goodies if they were pregnant, and free books and free lactation resources, etc. So they would go through the workshop, and then Mila would greet them and kind of talk to them about what they need. The Birthing Place is in the Bronx, and they're building the first birthing center in the Bronx. Kathy Hochul pledged rather a few $1 million last year to them. So also please check them out if you are into maternal mental health, midwifery, doula support, and why New York City should have doulas and midwives in their hospitals. So that's the first picture. The second picture is I took a picture at the start because I don't like to lead people through a pretty vulnerable workshop and then be like, let me photograph you. So this is the start, or this is one of the first prompts at the World's Borough Bookshop, but we talk about gives and needs. What can you give right now? What do you need right now? And if we were to do it in this room, you would find that there's people who can give what other people need, and then let's talk about it. This was right at the start, and this small child with his mom came in, and they were talking about it, and I had paper for them to draw on as well. But the child said that he needs more trees in his neighborhood, which was such a beautiful thing for that child to say. And the mom was like, we've never talked about that before. And then they had a conversation about why that child thinks there needs to be more trees in their neighborhood, which I thought was really beautiful. And like Nikita just shared right now that, they're medium. I feel very much like a medium, and just that these conversations are passing through me and I'm just a witness or a facilitator. And that was like one of my favorite conversations. And then with University Settlement, that was on Zoom. And we had social workers from University Settlement attending, which as a future social worker, inshallah, I really love that they were there and that they got to spend, an hour of their busy schedule with us. And one of the social workers shared on the call that, it's been a minute since she's sat and reflected or done anything creative, and had space to breathe, is what she said. So that really made me feel very warm. And then some of our writers in the workshop with University Settlement, they were just amazing writers, and they were artists in their own right. Some were musicians, some were painters, and haven't painted in a while. And it was really beautiful to get that conversation going. And the gives and needs were pretty horizontal, so we got to talk about it, which was really amazing. And yeah, this grant introduced me to University Settlement. I'm really grateful for that opportunity to work with them. World's Borough Bookshop I've worked with countless times. And also I was really happy to bring in the doulas because I just feel like doulas should be everywhere at all times. Yeah, I'm done. So thank you.
Ko and Lily are not here, so pretend I'm Ko and pretend this is Lily. So I'm gonna be reading Ko's statement. In Ko's work as an educator, they facilitated numerous musical theater workshops and educational programs, and Ko began to notice a consistent pattern. Many of them continue to center traditional Broadway repertoire or Disney songs, and while these works remain powerful and important, they also observed that children's musical interests are increasingly shifting toward more contemporary genres such as K-pop and other modern popular music styles. So this observation led them to reimagine what a musical theater learning experience could be today. They decided to combine their own strengths as storytelling driven theater creators with their backgrounds in electronic music and synthesizer-based composition in order to design a completely new form of musical theater engagement. They believe that children are naturally sensitive to sound and texture, and because of this, they saw great potential in allowing them to physically interact with synthesizers, experiencing sonic change directly through their fingertips, and discovering how sound can be shaped in real time. They developed a program that integrates movement, acting, and rhythm-based performance inspired by beat-driven music, offering a new kind of theatrical experience for the New York City community. Their cohort focused on an intensive group of 20-plus student creators who fully participated in the hands-on workshops. The program was highly sought after, leaving them 175% oversubscribed at the Glow Cultural Center based on their initial capacity targets. When accounting for the families, parents, and local community observers who gathered to watch the final presentations, their direct physical engagement expanded to over 65 total participants and observers. So moving forward, they're transforming this momentum into sustained community impact. They're interested in establishing a recurring program relationship with Glow Cultural Center to continually serve their youth network in Flushing. And concurrently, they're expanding their geographic and curricular reach through an invited workshop at the Port Imperial Art Festival, developing new educational programs and partnerships with Curiosity Lab, alongside additional regional partners, and launching the K-pop Storytellers Lab to channel contemporary youth interests into theatrical storytelling. That's that. And one thing I just wanted to note, so our friends at Glow are here, so if you are interested in talking to Liang afterwards about presenting your project, she's more than happy to talk to you, so you can save that for the mingling part. And, all right. And next, Dee.
Okay. Hello. I'm TD. I'm a writer and editor, cultural organizer, and community gardener. I co-edited an anthology called We Are Each Other's Liberation, Black and Asian Feminist Solidarities, which was published by Haymarket Books in October of last year. And for my project with this grant, I put on a event at a community garden in Crown Heights in Weeksville called Reciprocity, Black and Asian Feminist Solidarity with the Earth. Just based on, I guess, my own explorations in those spaces of food and environmental justice, because something that I just feel like is very urgent that we focus on right now, and has been a focus for me in terms of my work with community gardening, composting, zero waste, and just, trying to, I guess, repair our relationship with the earth and its resources. And so, yeah, it was an event in a garden. I was able to invite different speakers from kind of different connections in my life. We have here from closest to me to that way, Aman Rashid, who is the person who actually distributes these signs. She's a Palestinian organizer and nature educator. She does nature walks in Prospect Park and across Brooklyn, has immense knowledge on native plants and just nature. Taylor Ray Tate is actually my herbalism teacher, who I was connected with through a Green Thumb program that gives community gardeners free herbalism courses, which is really cool. So I've been able to learn about herbalism through her, mostly through a Black herbalist perspective. And then in the middle, we have Rosa Bordallo, who is one of the contributors from the anthology. She wrote a essay called The Breadfruit Does Not Float Far from the Tree. She's Chamorro from Guam, and she's also a farmer advocate. And then that's me. And then on the right side is Pista, who is a death worker and a compost educator and land steward, and also a mutual aid worker. And we actually met because I was working on community composting, and they came in and were just dropping off compost, and we ended up just having a whole conversation about composting, mutual aid, and talked about Whisper Network stuff, about different people in the community. And I just felt we had so much in common that was fate. And so I was really glad to be able to like bring these people together, to be able to fund or to pay them through the fund. And we had a panel. Iman led a nature walk in the garden at the end, and Rosa read her essay from the anthology. And let's see, what to say about this is that I feel like in terms of impact on the community, I will say that it was a lot less of a turnout. I feel like I had an opposite problem from people in this room, which was that, it didn't have a huge turnout. I feel like maybe like 10 or 11 people showed up in person, which was really kind of a surprise to me because it had a lot of engagement on social media in advance. So I was like worried that it was maybe too many people, and so I started like over preparing, which, again, I was grateful for the funds because, I was able to like rent chairs and borrowed like amplification, and I ordered some books also to be able to like distribute them at the event. And because also, again, the turnout was low, and I do want, these people's like wisdom to be shared more widely. And I had like people commenting being like, oh, are you gonna live stream this? Which, no, I wasn't going to. So I recorded the conversation that we had, and I'm in the process, like I've already transcribed it, and I'm in the process of like figuring out a way to put that out digitally as like a digital zine or a blog. Because that's something that I also want to bring back is blogging. So I think that is the next step, and so hopefully I'll be able to. I wanted to share it today because I was like that would be good timing, but I'll share it afterward. It's been like 1 month since my event, so I think just keep the conversations going. That's the hope. Yes.
Hi everyone, my name is Ruby. I'm the creative producer of Tongues, a multilingual community performance project. I started like almost 2 years ago, summer 2024. Tongues is like unlike traditional theater making method where usually it's like text driven. We are pretty much community engagement driven. So we always start by like a week-long community engagement theories where we have bilingual teaching artists facilitate those workshops where we encourage people to share their stories behind their names, their hometown food, and their family traditions, and even their favorite karaoke song in their mother tongues, and any like meaningful stories attached to those songs. And then we use all those stories, and we kind of weave them into a final public performance. We started 2024, and this year, with the help of A4 and NESCA, we actually expand our approach and collaborate with Henry Street Salomon and their ESO program, English as second language learner. And in ESO programs, many of their students are working class first generation immigrants, not only from Asian countries, but also from West Africa, from Peru, from Dominican Republic, from Egypt, and we have participants speak Fulani, Susu, Quechua, which is like a native Peru language, Spanish, Arabic, Cantonese, Mandarin, Japanese, all kinds of languages, and it's really diverse. And we started our workshop in April and did like a 4-week-long series, and we explored so many different topics. And the first week is about food, language and food, about buying groceries and all those like daily activities. Week 2 is about translation and learning a new language. Week 3 is about language as a performance and sharing mother tongue favorite songs and shows. And week 4 is about language in identity, language as a shelter. And this is a picture from our outdoor performance on May 30th, co-sponsored by FAB New York City, FAB NYC, and the performance project at New York University Settlement. And this is part of the Lower East Side History Month celebration, where two of our community members, Lisa and Omraj, shared their food. And we actually bought beef rice noodles, which is Cantonese cuisine, and Nepali momo, which is Omar's favorite. And we bring them on site and share with the audience sitting here, and also to the people walking, sitting, enjoying their Saturday afternoon in the park, giving out free food and listen to music and sharing favorite songs. And so that's our first performance of this program. And we actually are doing a performance tonight at Neighborhood Center, and it's like a dinner theater concept where we kind of share poetry, share songs, and do a little karaoke at the end. And we're also doing 2 performances tomorrow and on Thursday with Henry Street Settlement as part of their end of year ESOL program celebration, where we have like people from all the Henry Street staff and all the ESOL program students are gonna come, and we have 6 participants from the community who is going to be share their favorite songs, their favorite food, and also all how they navigate their life in terms of moving to the States and seeking settlement in New York City. And the core question of tongues is, what is home to you? And to our surprise, a lot of our participants, a lot of our audience actually said home is really not like a physical location, but it's more of like a feeling or like a memory or something tangible that attached to a really tangible feeling that only arouse when you're feeling home, feeling safe. Yeah, so that's our project. Thank you, everybody.
So you see the last name start with W, I mean that's almost the end, right? So hi, I'm Speaker Wabi. I want to shout out to my partner Margaret Young is there, and then Abby. Abby won't be here tonight, but her thought is with us. So our project is called Prologue and More. And you say, what is Prologue, right? Prologue actually, Margaret and we started, we both work at senior centers, and we work with seniors a lot. And then we realized that, gee, they do have good stories, amazing stories. And then we felt this urgency that if we don't document them, now, years later, we might regret. So we say, hey, let's interview them. So we interviewed them and we keep their story, we recorded their voices, and then write on their story, and then we use shadows and object and movement to retell their stories. So we did 2 episodes, and then just happened, Margaret and I, we all teach at Senior Center, mostly women participates in most of the activities. And then 2025, we thought, hey, where are the men? Right? So we started knocking on the doors. Finally, we found 5 Chinese, and they are, so far we all focus on first generation Chinese American immigrants. And then we found 5 very interesting Chinese first generation immigrant men, and we did part 3. And when we did a show actually at the Sing Chinatown, and one audience after the show came up to me and said, hey, have you heard of this? Do you know they have a grant? I said, oh, I have to look into it. And we applied the grant. But we thought, hey, since we applied the grant, we should do something more. So that's Prologue and More. So we decided to do workshops after the performers, because we thought we thought everybody has stories and everybody likes to, we should encourage people to tell their stories. So we have some tools in our pocket. We are more than happy to share. So we use interview skills from our show, which I'm a puppeteer, shadow puppeteers. So I would like to do shadow puppetry, and then people were really good at writing, and then Margaret and Abby, actually they are amazing dancers. I said I want to put movement also in the workshop, and finally we do a shadow and then they do some movement. So, thanks to A4, what can we do? Grant push us to push us to do more. So, This is the, and then also thank you so much for connecting us with University Settlement as well. They provided us amazing space and then the support. So this is after the performance. We have a artist talk back, and then more, and also we show our secrets to our audience. So they came to the backstage, we show them and make them curious about it. And then they also very curious about all our interviewees' stories. And then we try to encourage them to come back to the workshop. So totally there are 3 weekends, and that's a big commitment. Ask people to come on 3 weekends, but some people did. So so this is the after the performance and then the show and tell. And the next a week following week, we did the storytelling workshop. So next, because you say only 2 photos, so I try to cheat. I put 2 photos together, but there's another 2 photos. Let's take a look. If there's a we, there's a we. So it's the storytelling workshop, and Abby is there. Sorry, you cannot. Oh, that's Abby. So Abby is a dancer as well as Margaret. So we did everybody's the body, right? Everybody can move their body in their own way. And then we show them how can you use your body to tell your story, to show your emotion. In this case, everybody told everybody that what breakfast you just did this morning by simply just moving their hands. And then after that, we have an interview section that that people just interview each other right next to them, and then with very time's up. It's 5 minutes. Okay. And then after one sentence, and then they a week after they use their own photograph to create a shadow of themselves and share a moment of their life, and that's it. Okay, so
That's all right. Why don't you give yourselves all a big round of applause? Okay, so if anybody wants a slideshow, we can share it with you. Just let us know. We're happy to send it out, or just we can send you a link. So you don't have, it's a big file, so you don't have to download it. We'll send you a link. But thank you all again. We will hopefully, I think we're going to be doing the program again next year, providing we get the funding. So yeah, so tell all your friends, feel free to reapply, and I hope that you'll stay in contact with us. Let us know how your projects develop. If there are new iterations, send them to us so we can share it, put it on the calendar, help you promote them. And please, just stay in touch. We love to know how these things turn out. So thank you all again for coming, and meet each other and have fun. All right.